The purpose of this video is to present some of the features that were implemented in Oxygen version 25.0 to support the latest JSON schema versions. Specifically, I'll be demonstrating schemas with version 2020-12. The list of features include the ability to validate version 2020 JSON schemas according to the specification, the ability to validate JSON or YAML documents against a 2020 schema. You can edit the schemas in Oxygen's design mode. Content completion proposals are presented for them. And you can convert older JSON schemas to new versions. I'll start by creating a new version 2020 schema. So I'll find and select JSON schema from the new file wizard. I'll give it a name. And I need to click Customize. And here I can select the 2020 version. The newly created schema is automatically opened in design mode, and notice that the version is set to 2020-12. Now the components that can be inserted are filtered according to the schema version, so note that in the palette view there are some new components that are available in version 2020, such as unevaluated properties, unevaluated items, prefix items, dependent required, and dependent schemas. Also note that definitions is now $defs in the new schema as I drag and drop it into my document. Of course, you can also edit the new schemas in text mode, and the content completion proposals are based upon the schema version. And the proposals include documentation and links to the specification. Validation is also based upon the schema version. I'll open a sample 2020 schema file. Note that it contains a dependent required component. It basically specifies that if a post office box or extended address property is present, then the street address must also be present. So I'll open a sample JSON file that is validated against that sample schema file I just showed you. And I'll insert a post office box property and give it a value. Notice that there's a validation warning saying that the street address is required. So I'll insert a street address property and give it a value. And notice that the file is now valid according to the associated schema. If you are using older JSON schema versions, you can use Oxygen's Convert JSON Schema tool to convert them to version 2019-09 or 2020-12. So I have a sample schema file that's version draft 04. And I'll go to Tools, JSON Tools, and select Convert JSON Schema. I'll choose my sample file that's version 04. I'll select Draft 2020-12 for the version, and I'll click Convert. And I'll split the files so that we can compare them with the original version 04 schema on top and the converted schema below. Notice that in the converted file, the schema version is 2020-12, and its $ID property is listed as it was converted from the version 04's ID property. Also note that the definitions component was converted to $defs. And notice that it was also converted to $defs in the reference for this ID property. The dependencies property was converted to dependent required, since in the new schema versions, dependencies is split into dependent required and dependent schemas. Also, the items component was converted into prefix items, and the additional items component was converted into items. Some further notes on the conversion details. In addition to the conversions I just showed you, if there were any exclusive minimum or exclusive maximum properties with Boolean values in the document, they would be removed. And any reference that's wrapped into a single item all of keyword is unwrapped because the 2020 schema allows references to be processed. In addition to the schema converter, other JSON tools were also updated to provide support for the new schema versions, including the Generate Sample JSON Files tool, the Generate JSON Schema tool, the XSD to JSON Schema tool, and the Generate JSON Schema Documentation tool. That concludes the demonstration about Oxygen's support for JSON Schema version 2020-12. As always, thank you for watching, and we invite you to please subscribe to our various social media channels.